Hello, everybody, and welcome back to Spiritual Successor, a comedy video game design podcast where we take your horrible, nasty, horrible, bad video games from all over the internet and turn them into the next AAA titles. I'm your host, AJ Hart.
Hey, everybody, and welcome to the podcast. My name is Blake Rea. AJ, I don't know if you noticed this, but we casually mentioned Loop Hero last week, and I think we had a flood of emails. I would say the bulk of our submissions this week were relating to Loop Hero and how we should do Loop Hero. Did you notice that?
I did notice a lot of Loop Hero-based submissions this week, which were pretty good. I'm not going to lie. I love the idea of thinking and talking about Loop Hero. Here's the problem with thinking and talking and mentioning and considering Loop Hero. I have to record a podcast right now, and all my dumb idiot brain is going to be thinking about is Loop Hero.
Well,
I could
actually,
be doing Loop Hero
that's incorrect, because literally the past hour you and I have been chatting before this podcast, you kept saying one chorus line from Kings of Leon, because we were talking about NFTs, and that led us to...
This sex is on fire! I just peaked the whole thing.
Out of nowhere, like in the middle of a conversation, you would just say that. You would just scream that lyric, and then you and I sat and listened to like, man, is there any Kings of Leon song I remember? And then I thought like, I kept thinking of one song, but it was Coldplay instead. And I'm like, did I actually ever even listen to Kings of Leon? Are they even relevant anymore? Like, when was Kings of Leon actually big? Was it early 2000s?
Early 2000s when Sex is on Fire and You Need Somebody were on the radio, and that's it.
I could use somebody. God. All right. AJ, do you have a video game idea for me?
That's what we're going to use as the open?
What do you want from me, man? Like, my brain is all over the place right now, man.
There's just so many things going on in the world that we could, like, do a couple jafes and joffs and chuckle fucks about. You know what I mean? Like, we got a new Space Jam on the way. I just saw the new Monster Hunter movie.
Oh. All right, what do you want to talk about? Let's talk about the Monster Hunter movie. What was your I have yet to see it, but according to you, it's a very, very bad movie.
Yeah, here's my critical review of Monster Hunter. It's not worth thinking about. The big monster go raw playing ka-cha. They got the guy that did the Ong Bak martial arts films to come do this movie, and he does like no martial arts. It's really weird. It's edited like dog shit. I loved it.
I do gotta...
Ron Perlman's in it, and he's dressed up like the Admiral, and he has like the world's worst like wig job I've ever seen on somebody ever. They somehow were like, let's get Ron Perlman in here and make him look fucking horrible. And it rules. I liked all the little fanfare.
Wait, quick thing I want to touch on, because you were mentioning like wigs from like anime inspired, like anime and video, like I would say like Monster Hunter has like a lot of anime aesthetic in it. There's such a weird thing, because like every time you mentioned the wig thing, and I don't know if have you seen the live action Full Metal Alchemist movie? And how just abhorrent that dude's wig is in that movie.
Yeah, it's a bad wig.
Why is that such a common thing? Like, I feel like, look at the JoJo's movie, too. Like, the guy that they dressed up as Jotaro, the wig job on him. But it was also weird because they made a wig that was also part hat. And it was just like, it just does not look good in live action for some reason.
Do they not just have his hair poking out the back of the hat?
No, it's like, like how in the anime where his hair kind of blends into his hat. Aesthetically, that's really
just,
fucking
in
cool.
my mind, like, had to, like, be like, obviously his hat is just really old and has a bunch of slits on the back because all of the times he got tumbled down and fell in a delinquent fight, and so his hair pokes out the back. That's the way my brain had to, like, create it in my head. I was like, this is how it works.
Interesting choice, because that also happens when he's an old man, so that's implying that he's just constantly tumbling and going out.
The alternative is that he has really spiky, really thin hair, and he's wearing a trucker hat, and his little hairs poke out the back of his trucker hat that have the open flaps on the back. Like the mesh net.
That's my favorite arc where they're going across America, but all the JoJo's characters are truckers. Actually, I would watch the fuck out of that now that I think about it. Like a JoJo. I mean, I feel like
a trucker's JoJo's?
A trucker's JoJo, but they're all driving their own trucks, and like all of the fights happen at like truck stops. Because like my dad's a trucker, and he's constantly telling me about the weird shenanigans he gets into when he's out on the road, just like the people that you meet while you're out on the road. And just the idea of doing A road. I mean, like I guess they've practically done that already because part 3, where it's
Were
like
you
the
about
road
to
trip
be like,
across.
what if they did a road trip JoJo's? That's Stardust Crusaders, homie.
That is Stardust Crusaders, but they're not wearing trucker hats. They're all not speaking into radio saying really cool trucker speak.
They should have. That would have been way better if they were all truckers, huh?
Yeah.
Blake, I'm ready to do a video game podcast. Could you hit me with a video game?
Sure, I could hit you with one, brother. All right, this one comes to us on Twitter from Caleb All Day All Bay Martin at Is This a Theus? AJ, remember when you were a kid and all the fun little things you would do as a kid, like play with action figures in your backyard, make them come to life and all that shit. One of my favorite things to do as a kid is my grandparents had this really, 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 really old like pool table, and I would cover that shit in like blankets and pillows and make a sweet fort out of it. And then me and my sister would play like war, and I remember. I remember throwing a pillow really hard at her, and then that ended really badly. So this game comes to us
Not
from Caleb
badly enough to make you feel bad about it, though, because you did just still laugh. Is that the Cain instinct?
I mean, it did. It ended in a black eye, and it was really bad. And it was
Cain instinct.
like
you can just say Cain instinct. You don't have to like go into like. You don't have to chuckle and talk about the harm that you've done to your sibling. You could just be like Cain instinct, AJ. I would understand. I'm also a sibling.
I felt so bad. I felt so bad because it was just like such a good time. It was just a fucking pillow fight. All right, they're saying a pillow blanket fort creation game. So I'm trying to figure out what would be a good game where like you and I could play something. And it's opposing, because like pillow fort things is like, what is the energy of that? You each create your own pillow fort, and then you go to war using pillows, Nerf guns, pool noodles, whatever shit you have lying around. So what is some sort of like, I'm picturing some sort of game where two people can load into it, and it's like you have a limited amount of time to build your fort with the resources that you have, and then you have to do some sort of war thing. Is it like an opposing tower defense thing where like all of your...
Yes. So this actually reminds me of something I did as a kid was I hung out with my cousins all the time. Me and my sister would go over to my cousin's place, and there were 3 cousins there, and we would all just like hang out. And the common thing that we would do is we would set up 2 different pillow forts in the house and then play capture the flag. So the idea would be like whenever we were building our pillow forts, we would also always be like, okay, we know what our thing that the girls have to come in and steal is. So where are we going to put our thing? So within our fort, so that when they come in to try to steal our cool like pillow fort flag, they have to find it first. So I love this idea of like a competitive tower defense game.
Okay, so how about this? Building off of, you remember, you and I've only played it like a couple of times, but it's like seriously one of my favorite gaming experiences is playing Toy Soldiers or Small Soldiers or whatever that game is. And specifically the second one, because you set up all of your like tower defense elements, and then you get to go into like a third person like shooter. And then you get to like basically go up against the enemy in your third person while your tower defense is happening. So what I'm thinking is you and I load into this game. We have like a couple of minutes to set up our own defenses, like using certain pillows that have certain health values, set up like little turrets, set up like little like defenses and other things. And then as soon as the game begins, we then go into that third person mode, and I need to go find the flag that you randomly place somewhere in your fort. I don't know where it is, and it's basically you're doing the same. So maybe
it's a little bit prop hunt, a little bit like Gears of War, and a little bit tower defense-y. Yes, so I'm into this.
Could you do a thing like League, where it's like you and I each have our own minions that are trying to get to the other side? But they're not necessarily. Their whole job is to just destroy things. They're not.
Yes.
Looking for
There's a level of like little minions. Yes, I love this. So you can set up like actual little like minions that would run through to try to attack the other person's fort. You set up your own little automatic defenses that you're not going to necessarily control because you have your own in-game avatar that you can run around to actually invade somebody's space and try to hunt around and look for things. I'm imagining that the building cycle of this game would play sort of like Halo's Forge mode, if that makes any sense.
Oh yeah, exactly. No, I totally get what you're saying. It's like each person has like that three-dimensional camera that they can move about and then build something, and then you just have control over that. Is there a way that you can, just to put a little bit of stank on this, because this I just make it a little bit more unique. Is there there's this game I love playing. It's called Tilted Tower. not Tilted Towers, Twisted Towers or something. It's a competitive like Tetris game. And the whole point is you're trying to build your tower faster than your opponent. But there are these power-ups you can get that affect the other person's building ability. Like it summons a really large thing, or it freezes all of their pieces in vines so like it doesn't move, or just other things. Is there a way that you can get power-ups during the building process that makes it really that makes it difficult for your opponent to build, or helps you when you enter the third person mode? So it'll be like, you and I are going up against each other, and I cast this thing like this radar thing. It gives me a rough idea of like, it shows you like a top-down grid, and it shows you like in a 6x6 square that the flag is somewhere in this area. So like you get a hint ahead of time.
And you know what those will be? Those will be map objectives. So we'll take a small little tool book out of like a Halo or like a League of Legends and say that there's like in-world things that you can go collect. Maybe it's an in-world boss that you have to choose to go fight, and then you'll get a power-up if you kill that boss.
Oh, dude, setting up mini bosses? Holy fuck, that actually sounds radical. So like, okay, so each one of us like sets up like you have like two bosses, or like your two generals or something like that. So, and you have a cast of things that you can unlock between games, so you can actually choose bosses ahead of time. I wonder if you could do a sort of like Dead by Daylight thing where you don't know what bosses you're going up against, but you can get subtle hints.
Yeah, there's like
of,
a roster of
against.
Characters that you can select as your generals, and then if you're playing the game and I kill your general, then I get one of those power-ups.
Oh, so you basically each general drops a weapon. Well, what I guess what I'm saying is like each of us place generals that the opposition doesn't know. So like you wouldn't know my generals, and I wouldn't know yours. But what I'm thinking is like so once I enter third person mode, my goal is to go kill your generals, and when they die, what if they drop a weapon that your character can then pick up? So it's like a super weapon that you can then use towards the other boss fight or whatever.
Yeah, and like different generals will maybe drop different things, right? Maybe I have a general that has like a really good map pressure and is going to kill all the minions, but if you kill him, then you're going to get a really good gun. Or maybe I have a general that slows down your minions, and so if you kill my general, then you're going to get something that like just stops my defenses. Things like that. A good push and pull on the roster selection.
Ooh, I like that. I like that a lot. Hell yeah.
But again, like I love this idea that it's all Pillow Fort themed. I'm imagining, you mentioned the Little Soldiers video game as like a point of like tone reflection. This is the game where you controlled tiny little like miniature war figurines. I'm thinking something a little bit more like Small Soldiers, the game where you had monsters and army men fighting each other as like the flavor.
Yeah.
But let's put a pin
Arthur,
in this.
leader of the Gorgonauts. Oh god.
Of course. Archer, please. Archer. with a CH,
Arthur?
leader of the Gorgonites.
God, I love that. Man, I remember watching that movie so much. Yeah, but aesthetically, I totally get what you're coming at. Where it's like, could you even do that? Where it's like, the game just has a bunch of different factions. So you have like the army theme, you have like the monsters theme, you have like a Halloween theme.
There will be different characters of different themes, but much like a Overwatch or a League of Legends or a Valorant, like there's an in-universe, like these are the characters that actually matter. But like if the flavor is that we're like, well, it doesn't matter. You can choose whoever you want. Whatever.
Yeah. Oh, and each oh, dude, that would be kind of cool because like depending on which generals you pick, they actually have different power-up combinations. So like you were saying, like one person has really good like field dominance while
combinations, I would say maybe not. Synergies, yes.
Okay, yeah, I guess that's what I was trying to get at, where it's like these two generals stack really well and they complement each other well in terms of their field dominance. All right, let's put a pin in that. What game do you got, brother?
I got a submission here from Alleycat at Millennium Hoo-Ha. A sweet in-time real-life sim where you can take care of your town and its residents. But make sure to check in as much as possible. The townspeople just can't live without you. Literally.
Isn't that just kind of Sims?
Well, Sims is an excellent little thing that I'll touch base on. But my thought was a little bit more zoomed out than a Sims. My thought was like we've all played a King's Crusaders.
SimCity, I love that.
We've all played a Sim City. Well, damn it. We've all played, yeah, SimCity, huh? I've never played SimCity. Can your entire city just die without you paying attention to it? Because
I
I know
have
in
no
Sims,
idea.
your people will just die because they need a dookie so much that they just die.
They just, I don't honestly. I haven't played a Sims game since Game Boy. Like I remember having a Sims game, but I can never figure it out. I got a job and went on one date, and that was that was my knowledge of Sims. Well, here's the thing. I'm wondering if you could do like just to build on this because I think the submission is very like it's kind of Sim City ish. Where it's like
Yeah,
you
but
zoom
I
out,
want
but
to
you can
lean
zoom
into
in.
the idea that you need to be constantly babysitting this thing, right? Like, it's not enough to simply say, hey, build this construction site. You also need to check in hyper regularly to make sure that the construction site is standing up to OSHA rules. I forget what the term is for, like, the OSHA rules specifically. You need to make sure there's no OSHA violations. You need to make sure that if you're building a water plant, that the water plant is being, or not water, a water purification site, that the water is actually being purified. Not only is it a normal city manager, it's also a city micromanager. You constantly have to be tapping on these things to make sure that they are following the rules and not killing each other.
I think that's a good route, but I think if we're trying to make a game that shouldn't be made, how about this? This is I want to take the concept of like a dating game memory thing to the extreme, and there's no way to remember these things. So this is actually like what it would be to have like God control over a whole city. Every person's different, AJ. You know what? You're a vegetarian. That means your eating habits are completely different than mine. And in this world, if like you give the vegetarian person something wrong, they're gonna fucking die on you. And so you have to remember that. Now imagine that for every single person in this city. There's no way to remember. You just have to like wing it. So see if you can. The whole point of this game is like, hey, you need to prove that you can run this city for a year. So you have to build out your own little documents to remember what every single person's guidelines are for living. And the only way you find that out is through trial and error. So be like, oh, I remember there's Jim. He works in this office. He has this one job. There's Stacy, who works at this coffee shop, has this one job, has these living habits. You need to make sure that they go hiking on a certain amount of time. You need to make sure they take care of themselves. You need to make sure that their
somebody
finances
dies, though? If one person dies, is the wipe out or like the run over, and you have to start from the top?
If everybody in your city dies, you basically the city is
no,
disbanded.
not everybody. Okay. So if a couple people die here and there, that's fine.
Yes, so it's basically it's going to be a little bit forgiving, but like the whole point is you need to make sure your city can make it till the end of this year. And maybe
okay.
So I don't know, cuz I'm trying to figure out like, okay, what is a way you can make this like really just like put some stank on this, and the idea of doing
My problem
a
with
memory
there being
game
too
at
much
the level of like
My problem with there being a level of forgiveness is the fact that I just played Pikmin, and sometimes, especially in the later half of Pikmin 3, I would hit the end of the day and think to myself, it's 20 Pikmin. I really don't give a shit. These little dudes live and die for me. They will die for me. And I would just leave them, whatever. So, like, how do we make sure that players don't just say, I don't need Jerry, or Dave, or Susie?
AJ, just
I
like
hate this
any
household.
Just like any city, one person dies is going to have a ripple effect. So guess what? That you didn't take care of that one construction worker who's working on the construction site, like the guidance.
That whole construction site has a chance of just breaking down and destroying everything. Yes. Okay.
Yes. And then
now we're talking. One person dies,
so there's
the
these chain
likelihood
effects.
of everybody near them dying also goes up.
Yes,
This
or
rules,
not necessarily dying, but also like there's different versions of
causing
death.
death.
There's that construction site loses its guidance. Guess what? Then those people stop working. They're not making any money. Guess what? They can't. It has these ripple effects of like, oh, okay, so man, this is like really fucked up now because now we're talking about like people's families, like people not being able to support their families.
Yeah, if you don't want to talk about really people's families, we can go ahead and talk about coworkers if that makes you feel more comfortable.
I mean, like this is also supposed to be a game that should be made. Like we're talking about a city slowly descending into chaos and madness.
Look, we can worry about the themes of our art later. Right now, I want to talk about the mechanics, and the mechanics are: if I let somebody die and they work at the construction site, then there's a likelihood that the construction site will either A, just go like no longer be there, or B, the construction site is more likely to have accidents. If there's an accident, oopsie, that's another person in another chain.
Let's
The
lean into that.
percentage likelihood of things going horribly wrong goes up every time somebody dies. There's a wide network in game of like who's connected to who, when they're connected to what, and how they're connected to what.
How about this? How about instead of leaning into more of like the financial implications, it's more of just like a chain reaction of people like dying due to just weird accidents. So the construction site thing is a little bit obvious. It loses its guidance and then the whole construction site collapses in on itself and a lot of people die. How about
let's say that somebody at the water purification plant dies.
Yeah.
Now all of a sudden you have a high percent. Like if someone at the water purification site dies, then all of a sudden everybody's ticker of dying from water-based salmonella goes up by 1%, and now every citizen has a 1% chance of dying from water-based salmonella. Is that a real thing? I don't know. It's video games.
What if we did... Oh my god, AJ, I just had an idea for this. What if this is like a Civ-style game, but everybody controls this one city? So everybody is given a hidden objective. Actually, no, how about this, AJ? It's a fucking trader game. So we are the council that runs this city. Say there's like a spot of like 6 players. 5 of those players are trying to make this city survive and get to the end of the year. 1 player is trying to kill this city and have as many people die as possible. And basically, the whole point is like, no,
my concern is that then it becomes a little bit of like a top-down city management Among Us, in a way that like if it was a top-down micromanage to make sure nobody dies game, like it's about the character goal, and I'm much more interested in the character goal being micromanaging and making sure that nobody in the town dies versus the character goal being find out who the baddie is.
Okay. Let's keep with the single player thing. So then you're just like having to build out these just Excel sheets of like everything about these people, and maybe it's
and I'm really interested again in like the idea that any small accident can cause the likelihood of everything going wrong to be so much higher.
But I also want it to be some like really comedic. So it'll be like, hey, the photocopier repair guy ended up dying on his way to work. And basically the photocopier went on the fritz and like exploded paper everywhere, and everybody in that office got paper cuts and died from it. Like just that level of absurdity, you know what I mean?
Yeah, I'm really into that.
And that could be like maybe that's the office where that happened was like the people in charge of making deliveries, or their whole thing is like.
And now your Uber, if your office space dies, then maybe Uber Eats doesn't have any management systems, so now no one's gonna get food delivered to them.
Oh my god. Okay.
And if I wasn't able to get food delivered to me, I would die almost immediately. I've sat around one day and thought to myself, I'm going to order some Thai food. And then I sat around for 2 hours thinking to myself, if my Thai food doesn't get here, this is it. I'm going to die. I could walk down to the 7-Eleven and grab a little snacky, but I won't. So I guess this is it.
How'd he die? Well, his Uber Eats arrived 30 minutes too late, and that's what we put on your tombstone.
Too lazy to live.
Too lazy to live. All right. Let's put a pin in that because I do feel really strongly about that game. Do you got a game?
I brought this one. This one was mine, but I'll do another one. I ain't shy.
With the city manager? Oh my god, you did bring the city manager. It is my turn. Oh, jeez. AJ again, carrying the team as always. Funniest guy on the podcast. Hey, everybody, this one comes to us from Joe T. Thank God it's Friday.
Thank God it's Friday.
I love that started as a one-off joke. I don't know where Joe got that. Joe, the Joe, this is the Joe that we had on the podcast previously. I don't know where he started it, but now every time I see him on Twitter, that's just what he's saying, and I love it. At the Giuseppe, new entry in the Super Mario Brothers franchise, directed by Hideo Kojima. So, AJ, how would we do a Mario game where you have to go through about 100... Because they say on Death Stranding you got to go through about 100 hours of gameplay before the game gets good. It puts Final Fantasy XIV to shame. But apparently those 100 hours
Blake.
Are excruciatingly
good.
The
first 100 hours of this Mario game, you know how like Mario, like kind of the big thing about him is that he can run and jump, yeah? And like he jumps so high, that man's got some fucking hops, right? Mario can't hop. For the first 100 hours before the game gets good,
Oh my
Mario can't
god.
hop. So
Oh
that's
my
how
God,
we're going to
so
take in that Death Stranding influence. What I'm a little bit more interested in for influence, though, Blake, is the idea that Hideo Kojima is a man that when he makes games, it's about something, right? Sure, it's kind of weird about how he gets to those things that they are about.
That's what makes it special. That makes it great.
But like Metal Gear at its core is about the problems with like privatized military companies and like the rampant race of military arms and how the war economy can be very, very profitable for some people.
Are you saying maybe is this a story about Mario's like healing? Like, because when you say something like this, when saying Mario can't jump, that implies that something happened to him that is preventing him from jumping. So is this a story about about physical like
Hideo
healing or
Kojima
something?
doesn't do personal stories. I want to ask the question of what is the world truth that Mario's story is always trying to tell. Now here's what we know about Mario. He's a young man. Well, he's a middle-aged man, I think, by this point.
He's kind of a middle-aged man, yeah.
Probably somewhere in his 30s, 40s. He's a plumber. We know this. We know that he's a plumber by trade. It's probably what his family did. It's what he's going to do, and it's what he's making an honest living. But here's what we also know about Mario. What does Mario do in all of these video games? He's saving Hoomst.
He's saving Princess Peach.
So princess.
Or Rosalina, depending on the game.
Or Rosalina. But we know that Mario is he's a working class gentleman forced by something outside of his control to protect the nobilities? Are you kidding me?
I feel
in today's economy?
I feel like he's
Mario
he's
is
by
like just
choice though.
No. Oh, it's by choice. No, it's
yeah. He doesn't have to go
not.
save Princess Peach. He just wants a kiss. That's his drive for like the majority of his career.
Anybody else could have gone and saved Princess Peach. She's got like 1 million military dudes that are willing to fight and kill for her. I think that's what the Toads are.
No, Bowser has 1 million military dudes.
Look, I'm proposing the idea that perhaps we make a Mario game about Mario, a normal, everyday plumber, realizing that the caste system in which he lives in isn't that great for him. And that maybe the caste system, whether we know it or not, does still exist in today's day and age where 1% of the people own all of the wealth. I'm saying that we create a Mario game that is long-term and big scale about capitalism and how it takes advantage of the working class.
Okay, I'm with you there. I like that theming. That does feel Hideo Kojima-y. That doesn't necessarily translate to gameplay for me.
Okay, I'm not worried about gameplay right now. I'm worried about themes, Blake. It's the themes for the Kojima game that I'm interested in.
So, would you do a thing? I feel like okay. One of the big things about Mario is collecting
we can make Mario piss.
What?
Was that not where you were going? Continue with your concerns.
Wait, I didn't hear what you said because the phone was weird. Did you say Mario can piss? Is that what you said?
Yeah, it's a Kojima game. Of course he can piss.
Oh my god. He just turns... It's a side-scrolling game. He just turns away from the camera and just... That's just... And you know what happens? A little piranha... Like a little baby piranha plant grows as a result. Because it's
that
just
rules.
Fucking wet the soil.
Mario created life.
That's so dumb. That's so dumb. Okay. So if you want to play into the themes of like hoarding wealth, let's say that. Is this the game where we like show that Princess Peach is just a fucking jealous, not a jealous royal, but an egotistical royal who's hoarding wealth?
Yes, I believe that Princess Peach is maybe one of those like people that like. I'm not saying that. We can juggle with this. With all rich people, there are one of two types of rich people. There are, oh my god, my multi-million-dollar diamond fell into the ocean. And then there's people are dying, Kim, kind of rich people. Are they both hoarding wealth? Absolutely. But we can decide on whether or not Princess Peach is oh my god, Kim, there are people who are dying, or I lost my multi-million-dollar earring in the ocean.
I want to build on something because the concept... I'm just trying to take the elements of Mario and flip them on their head a little bit. One of the big things about Mario is collecting gold coins. So that is going to be an option through the majority of the game. But as you collect them, you realize your counter doesn't go up. You grab the coin, but it doesn't add to your total for some reason. You find out after 100 hours of gameplay that every coin you collected actually influences the wealth of the final boss and what stuff they have access to. So you find out all of the gold coins went towards buying something better, or like it makes the final boss harder, because it's the concept of like, oh, every dollar you get is being hoarded by somebody else, or being taken and hoarded by somebody else. So you can then replay the game, and if you don't collect any coins throughout your run, that final boss is much easier. But you don't find that out until you're like 100 hours into this Mario gameplay thing. So that's one element we could play with. So it's a game because like there are
let's
the
talk about who
speedrunners
the
who
final boss is. We of course know that Princess Peach is rich and stealing all of Mario's money, and we know that Bowser is within the same like realm and power of Princess Peach, whether that's financially or power level-wise.
He's private
military.
military.
I would argue private military is very good. What might I propose this? Bowser is also a rich businessman. This story can just simply be like the idea of two corporations battling over something that doesn't make a lick of sense for the common man turned to 11. For example, you remember how there was that crazy lawsuit between Epic Games and Apple over what they can and can't have in the marketplaces or whatever? And it's like, that's wild, and is two giant financial titans battling it out, and it really doesn't matter to you or me. Can we do something like that for Mario?
So you're saying I'm saying that
Bowser and Princess Peach are both capitalist monsters that are fighting each other, and somehow Mario has been conscripted into this battle, and somewhere along the way, perhaps he learns the reality of it, and it is that he just wants to see both of these rich fucks lose money, and also, maybe, he should love himself a little bit. Maybe we'll have something about, like, Mario being a grizzled war veteran. We don't know yet.
Well, is this like 20... Okay, so this is 20 years, like, after any Mario game happened. He's like
Mario has saved Princess Peach multiple times. He's known as a hero.
Yeah, but this is like 20 years after he realized that Princess Peach has been using him all this time. Like, using him to... so this is an embittered, like, Mario... And that's like, and the reason it's like this story is happening right now is because he sees...
I'm so tired, Luigi. I can't take it anymore.
So this is like his journey is like he sees these two titans fighting each other, and he's like, I have to put an end to that. And oh my god, based on how you play the game, you basically dictates who you fight in the end game. So you can either fight Bowser as the end game boss, or you can fight Princess Peach as the end game boss. Completely different abilities, completely different like resources or whatever. And I'm trying to think, like, how do you influence that? Is it like if you don't collect coins, that makes Princess Peach less powerful, and then the boss becomes Bowser? Or hey, if you like what enemies you like?
No. It's a Kojima game, so as we all know, there is a shadow organization, somebody that profits from both. I think that you end up having to fight both Bowser and Princess Peach. The order can be up to you. We'll take a little bit of a hand out of some more free run games. I think I can push Kojima to do that influence, and then you find out that the real monster is
the guy who created Mario.
King Toadstool. I think because Princess Peach is like... Hold on. It's King Toadstool. And you find out that King Toadstool, in fact, owns both of the mega companies that are currently going at each other's throats. And the real villain was still even more capitalism. The villain was deeper capitalism all along.
No, I think it's just the guy who created Mario. And now, because like Nintendo makes games, AJ, and Breath of the Wild, it's like, what, a 5-year-old game? They're still charging $60, AJ. So guess what?
Okay,
this is Hideo Kojima commenting on Nintendo fucking hoarding their shit and not lowering their prices.
Okay, yes, you're right. Here's what I'll give you then. We can meet in the middle. The real villain, as we finally know, the name tag says King's Toadstool. It's Princess Peach's father and the true boss of Bowser. What does he look like? He looks like the CEO of Nintendo, whoever that is.
Okay. All right. So so we have the story in place, but what is like gameplay look like? Is it just could it be
Mario
how about
3D
this?
World, but now Mario has a piss button?
How about this? How about this? How about this? How about this? Just to really put some fucking stank on this, there are excruciatingly hard Mario levels out there. Specifically, like you take a look at the ones like on Super Mario Maker or whatever. It is, what if you take away that satisfaction of beating a level and never having to play it again? What if this whole game, AJ, is one long 100-hour level? There's no save points. There's no checkpoints. There's nothing. You imagine having to go through an entire 100. Yeah, no, dude. Imagine having to actually this totally fucking makes sense because Mario Odyssey has this, the end game is like this one long, like I think like 50 area level. It's just one long fucking level and you only have one life.
And the only way to get more lives through this game is by, like, collecting those coins, right? You collect 100 coins, you get a 1-up. That's the only way to guarantee yourself the safety of being able to continue this run. But the whole story will be through text boxes that are told when you hit bosses, and, like, long, like, dialogue recordings between the voice actors.
I don't think there's one-ups, though. I don't think there's one-ups, though, because having a one-up implies that you're going to get resurrected at a checkpoint. I'm saying there's no one-ups.
You die and you come back to life right there. When you get 100 coins, you get the ability to continue the game. That's what I want to do.
Oh, okay. So instead of one-ups, maybe it's like second win. We think of it more as like a second win. So like your character stutters for a little bit.
At the end of the day, the idea is that the money is not used for points. The money is not used for buying things in the shop. The money is used, much like money in our normal day-to-day lives, money is just used to stay alive.
Oh my god. Holy fuck.
We created anti-capitalist Mario. This rules.
I don't know. I don't Okay. Is there a way? Okay, so it's just a one.
I want to put a pin in this.
I do want. Okay, let's put a pin in this. Do you have a game idea that we can go and we could just maybe, because we have to maybe do some lightning round stuff?
Yeah. I've got this one from the real Boyland at Nonomo31. Guy Fieri's favorite guys.
Who is Guy Fieri's favorite guy?
Who are Guy Fieri's favorite guys?
Is it smaller Guy Fieri?
I'm imagining, maybe some smaller Guy Fieri's. What immediately comes to my mind with the sentence
Pikmin,
Guy
but he
Fieri's
just has a horde
guys.
of. It's Pikmin, but he just has a horde of smaller Guy Fieri lookalikes, and he's just guiding them to, because he's preparing a shit ton of food for charities, dude. Guy Fieri is always doing charity work, so he basically is like, man, I
don't like the idea of them being little Pikmins, though. I imagine when I hear Guy Fieri's favorite guys, my immediate thought is, you know what? Charlie's Angels. What if they're just Chef Charlie's Angels? What if they're just a group of very handsome, very charismatic, very capable chefs?
They're all, you know what you do, though? It's like, you know, like a Death Note side note, I hate Death Note. I've watched that series all the way up to the final episode, and I cared so little for that, I never watched the final episode. But the one thing they did that I thought was kind of charming is when I'm not going to spoil it, just in case you haven't seen, a main character dies, and they bring these two characters that are weird, like, little slices of that character. Like, one has...
Well, hey, Blake, I hate you did just spoil it, is the
just
thing.
Censor,
like,
no, censor me.
I don't want to spoil it, but here's key identifying trait.
Censor me. Just put a big old bleep over that statement.
Yeah. The fact is, somebody dies, and then two fragments of that person become into existence.
What if you do something like that?
Guy Fieri has died a horrible accident, and so 4 different versions of Guy Fieri, or 4 different fragments of Guy Fieri, perhaps each one a possible reincarnation of the mayor of Flavortown, all come into existence. One who's into dives, one that's into diners, one that's into drive-ins, and one who's just the character.
Yeah, but you know what you do to separate them? All of them have the same hairstyle, but it's all dyed differently. So it's like
they
one
all
has
have
red
the
hair.
same flame shirt, but they're all different colored flames.
It's all different color palettes. And you know what we do? Because one thing that fucking fascinates me is, like, you tell me about God of High School, where one character is the reincarnate of this one god.
Deep spoilers for God of High School. There's a point where there's 2 characters that are both believed to be the reincarnation of another character, and the 2 of them have to fight each other to prove which is the real reincarnation and which one is just, kind of like that, I guess.
What if you do that? Like, what if you do that where it's like these 4 cooks are doing their own individual journey? Because guess what, AJ? Now that Guy Fieri is passed in a horrible death, who's going to host the show? Who's going to host all of his Flavortown?
Here's what Guy Fieri's favorite guys would be. It would be the high octane metal music version of Overcooked. But then once you finished a world, it would enter like little cooking competitions where you have to get as many orders out as possible against your allies. So it would be a little bit Castle Crashers.
You're trying to figure out who of you is Guy Fieri's successor, like his favorite.
Yes.
Who's Guy Fieri's favorite guy?
Who's Guy Fieri's favorite guy? Yes. Do you have another lightning round for us?
Okay, I do. All right, this one comes to us from Love is Love, so march to the beat of... Oh, man, I forgot that. At Dust in Your Eyes, a jigsaw puzzle assembly game with voice controls only. AJ, I wanted to have a jigsaw game where I have to yell at my monitor. And basically, I'm wondering if you could do a game where it's like you have a...
You know what it is?
Yeah, what's up?
It's keep talking and nobody explodes, except blind.
My God.
I think that the idea would be that one person has puzzle pieces, and the other one... gets to see what those puzzle pieces are. So I pick up a puzzle piece and you have to tell me where it's supposed to go.
Well, I mean, I don't necessarily know if that's voice controlled then. That's like...
It is voice controlled because I can't see anything. I can't even see my puzzle piece. I pick it, like you have to tell me where to put my hands at to pick it up. And then you say, okay, a little bit to the left, more to the left, more to the left, up. There you go. Put it right there.
How about this? Just because, like, I feel like that's a game. That's just like I'm playing Tetris, and I can't see it, and you have to explain it to me. What if we added a little bit of stank to this? So I say I'm the one that can see the piece, but you're the one in control of the game. I am shown an L piece. I have to describe that piece, and then you have to draw it. So, but the pieces get more and more complex as the game goes on. So, like, oh, you're gonna have to draw this like zigzaggy piece. There's like it's a circle, but it has a dot in the center. It's just you have to draw more complicated pieces that then fit into the puzzle that you're working on. So it's like So I'm shown a piece that I have to describe in detail to you, and then you have to draw it, and then that piece materializes and becomes part of the puzzle you're working on. Because I feel like. I'm trying to think like some way you can make it a little bit more complicated. Something, I don't know, just like something with a little bit more layers to it. Because I don't know, like I don't know if like that's all that fun. Just being like, oh, all of my little models of Berserk, Guts and Casca just fell off of the table.
Not your Guts and Casca minis.
My cute little Casca. God, they're so fun.
I didn't know that you had Guts and Casca minis.
I do. They're so fucking. They're like it's them dressed up. You know the episode where they're at the. I was gonna say the prom, but it's not. Yeah, fuck it. It's the prom.
It's the ball.
At the ball.
Oh,
yeah.
the ball outfits are so cute.
Yeah, Guts looks like super uncomfortable. He's like, I don't like being in nice clothes. But yeah, beside the point. So I'm trying to figure out like. What I'm imagining, I want to see somebody screaming at a monitor. Like, that's the joy of it. It being like, okay.
We put a timer on it then.
Oh, so it'll be like you have to get... That'll be cool. So you and I, it's a duos game, and each level, the timer gets smaller and smaller and smaller, and you have to build your little... You have to build out something or a tower or whatever to get past a certain point within that time limit. But as the game goes on, the timer gets shorter, and the pieces that you build with get more and more complex.
Yep.
Okay. Perfect. All right, what's our nug?
I think it's anti-capitalist Mario.
You think anti-capitalist Mario? All right, I'm down. So Mario, directed by Hideo Kojima. Is there a way you can put Mads Mikkelsen into Mario?
I was about to say, this is where we get to have a lot of fun, because it's a Hideo Kojima game, Hideo Kojima itches for one thing above all else, and that is to cast people in his games.
Guillermo del Toro as Bowser. As
Guillermo
King
del
Bowser.
Toro as Bowser. Okay, now visually and like voice, or just visually? Because something to keep in mind is that like I kind of want to just go ahead and say if somebody's acting as them, they are the likeness and voice, because it's just cleaner that way. Although if you want to say put in Guillermo del Toro as Bowser, but then he is voiced by Ron Perlman, I could fuck with that.
Okay, you're right. So you're right, because if we still need to maintain like the look of all of these characters. It's not like we're
No,
changing their faces.
no. We can change
So
their faces. We can.
You
If
think
you
so?
want to cast somebody, like if you want to say, "Oh, I want Wario to be played by Dwayne the Rock Johnson," then Wario is Dwayne the Rock Johnson. Now hold on, hear me out. If we're to believe that there's like deep lore about Wario being like the bad version of Mario, and we could cast Dwayne the Rock Johnson as Wario, a badder, meaner version of our hero. Yes.
But
who
is the opposite to Dwayne the Rock Johnson then? Would it just be John Cena as Mario? I don't know if John Cena can carry the weight of Mario though.
Mario's still Mario. Well, I don't think we can change Mario. I think that Mario's still Mario, and he's voiced by the guy that voices Mario.
Yeah.
Mostly because I want to put that voice actor into a position where he's really got to bring in the emotions of Mario.
He's got to actually say a full sentence.
A full sentence. I want to hear Mario looking Peach in the eye and being like, you've put me through so much, Princess Peach. Really just bring out the emotion of that guy, because Mario's got emotions. They're in there somewhere.
Oh my God. So who would we? Okay, so I would love. You said Ron Perlman, and the idea of Ron Perlman voicing Bowser and just get that low gruff, like him from Hellboy, basically, just that kind of like snarky.
Yes.
Not
That's
narcissistic,
a very good
but like
Bowser.
Yeah, I love it. Who would voice Peach? Like, who do you think would bring to the table like just a really?
I want Aubrey Plaza to be Peach.
Oh my! You just made me fall in love with Peach even more.
No.
AJ.
It's just like the idea of like if we're gonna do a Peach as a hyper capitalist, then I want it to be somebody that can be a little bit mean and feel disconnected from the common man. And Aubrey Plaza does such a good job creating a character that feels disconnected from like the social norms. That having Aubrey Plaza be like a completely socially disconnected like Princess Peach that just does not get it and is not interested in understanding people.
You just discovered something I don't think you realize though. I think the mass majority of the population, though, looks at Aubrey Plaza as like that's a socially disconnected character, has the fucking hots for her. So it's like you.
It's true.
So no. Here's the thing. That's how capitalism works. It entices you. It shows you some of the lighter things. Oh, capitalism could do this. Capitalism could do that, and you fucking forget that it's milking you dry. Not milking you is not a great. Wow. It is bleeding you dry. Capitalism is bleeding you dry. So it's like you get caught up in all of these like promises of capitalism, and then you forget that it's fucking using you, just like Aubrey Plaza's Peach character.
Now here's the question: do we want to go ahead and like commit and say like Princess Peach is somebody that is not even trying to hide the fact that she does not understand the common man, or do we want to go ahead and create a Princess Peach that seems like she's trying? You know what I mean? Like, do we want it to be an Aubrey Plaza, or do we want it to be like, who's that lady that was also in Parks and Rec? Please help.
Amy Poehler?
Thank you. Or an Amy Poehler Princess Peach.
Are you talking about the blonde character, correct?
Yes.
I'm pretty sure that's Amy Poehler. Yeah. I mean, no, I think Aubrey Plaza's a good, like, I think it would be kind of nice because Princess Peach has always been this very bubbly sort of like, you feel like she's a very caring character, but to like take on somebody who is unempathetic and very like just flat, monotone sort of delivery on things, I think would be an interesting way to do it. Especially this is a character who's disconnected from the common person. Like I feel it needs to have that aesthetic to work. But I guess you could do a thing where it's
what's
like a
Luigi's
character
role in this game?
Luigi's role in this game? I wonder if you could do a thing where Luigi becomes like a mini boss you have to fight, because I don't know if that has been done in a game yet.
Luigi should be like a tutorial boss. I'm imagining Luigi is a character that Mario must face to prove that he has resolve to do this thing. But I want to make sure that Luigi is still Mario's most tried and true brother. I want to create Luigi as a character that serves a purpose in this role. But is he somebody that is calling Mario to action to say, hey, we're all being bled dry. You need to realize this and step up?
No.
Or is Luigi a foil to Mario, and Mario's like, we are being bled dry. We need to step up. And he looks to Luigi, and Luigi's like, but Elon Musk is so cool.
He hoards.
And you know what? Maybe that's the way that we do Luigi. Maybe Luigi starts this game being like a total Elon Musk bootlicker, and Mario has to really just beat him out of it, beat some sense into him, much like a Yakuza game. prove that he's right because he's buffer and stronger and cooler.
I think,
and then Luigi gets to join us as a fun companion to help us explore different topics of this capitalist nightmarescape. Because again, if it's a Kojima game, then we're going to spend a lot of time on the Mario Land phone lines so we can get long 20-minute long discussions between characters. And Mario describing to Luigi why they're being taken advantage of and how and where would be very good.
Well, I feel like Luigi could be a recurring boss. Like, I don't think... You haven't played Shovel Knight, have you?
No.
There is a boss that you go up against that starts as the tutorial boss, and then you face them at intermittent times throughout the game. It's the Black Knight character, which is kind of like
what? How come you never told me that Shovel Knight has a homo-romantic rival character? Homoerotic rival character.
I don't think they lean into that. They both love the same woman, and it's like them competing for this woman's love, and it's like it's really fucking like traditional fantasy thing, but it still fucking hurts so bad when that finally gets resolved. God, it's so AJ, you need to play Shovel Knight. It has some of my favorite romances in it. Like the fucking like everything with Plague Knight and the person that they love or they do all their things for it, like it has one of my favorite scenes in gaming. But going back to it, I wonder if you could do a thing where Luigi is that character, where it is them over the course of the game, you see them being this bootlicker and this like every like area you get access to, or like once you enter a new biome, like Luigi becomes like, hey, here's this thing I'm working on, and you know, or here's this
Luigi resembles that part of our brains that like, as I'm sure we've all kind of had to deal with in the last year of understanding that our government doesn't actually give a shit about us. Every now and again, we've realized that there's something else that we're trying to hold on to, and being reminded at every turn, like, oh, this is a nightmarescape and just is the way that things are. There's a part of our brain that wants to reject it and be like, maybe it was an accident and it wasn't just like conscious negligence that we lost so much forest fires.
You mean like
we lost so much fucking forest in
naivety?
California. Yeah, Luigi is that trusting naivety. Luigi is that part of our brains and part of our psyche that wants to believe that like things that are in order currently are good and kind of like fell into a goodness. And so throughout the game, every now and again, you have to fight Luigi because Luigi's like, no. It was an accident that this happened. And you have to be like, Luigi, it wasn't an accident. It was an active negligence. The reason why people in this area are having like a bad time is because the government chose not to do anything about it. And then you have to fight Luigi again. It's going to be heart-wrenching. It's going to be uncomfortable. This game will force some people of Nintendo to look at the world differently. That's what I want from this Mario game.
All right. Hell yeah. What do we call it?
Let's look at some Kojima-based games. We've got Metal Gear Solid.
Would it just be Hideo Kojima's Mario? Because like
Hideo Kojima is on the tin, but I don't think that it's related to Mario. So is it still a Super Mario game?
Mario,
or do we drop the super and just drop it as Mario?
Just call it Mario Super Capitalism.
Maybe there's no super. Maybe there's no fun in the name. Maybe it simply is just Mario. No Super Mario.
I feel that's so fucking lazy.
Mario.
I feel that's so lazy.
But
if we
you
just
say it's lazy. Hey, what was the name of the edgy, dark 2019 film about the Batman, the Joker?
I think it was just called The Joker, wasn't it?
Incorrect. It was simply called Joker. Drop the "the." See, one singular word or name
everybody saw
is
that
what
movie and
makes
was
it
like, "Hey,
edgy.
that's lazy and fucking edgy." No, okay, AJ, I'm looking at this in terms of like, okay, we're gonna release an episode just called Mario on the fucking podcast. Yeah, but no, that's dumb as fuck. Sorry. I feel like
a game by Hideo Kojima.
Okay, there we go. That has a little bit of flavor to it. I think we could. Okay, we're talking about capitalism, and it's like, oh my, AJ, late stage Mario.
Let me hit you with this, Mario, the last stage, because we expressed that this is a long game. It is a one-run game where if you die, you have to restart, and so you have to get money so that you can keep currency, so you can continue running through the game.
Yeah, just keep surviving.
There is a quick save feature, but that's it.
Yeah, that way if you can load up the game, like you can pause it and close the game, or actually maybe you could. That's not possible because it's like capitalism. AJ, you can't turn it off. You can't
you
fucking
can,
ignore.
you can put the game in standby, but you cannot quit the game.
Can't quit the game.
How many hours are we thinking here? I'm thinking like a
100 hours,
58-hour game.
Well, I feel if you're doing a Hideo Kojima game, like Death Stranding took like what 10 hours to get to the actual like main core story where things actually start moving and progressing and shit like that. Actually, I think it might even be more. Like our buddy Andrew would know more. But I remember him playing it and saying like that game becomes a masterpiece. Like, but after like a serious amount of time. God, I can't believe that's possible. So I wonder if you do a thing where like the first 10 hours of this game is just like a level 1, just really easy, really stupid, just like
so
very
how
very
long
basic.
Beat says
mechanics.
that the main story of Death Stranding takes 40 hours. So I think a 50-hour long singular Mario level seems right. I know a lot of people are probably thinking out there, well, a lot of the time in those games from a Hideo Kojima game is cutscene. And I hear you. There will be cutscenes in this game too. It'll be like the first Metal Gear game when they did cutscenes and they just zoomed in on people's faces. Maybe a lot of that. Actually, who am I saying? Actually, fuck that. This is a 2D Mario game, but it's rendered in the 3D Mario engine so that we can still do like zoom ins and close ups and watch Mario talk with his hands and beg and plead his brother to give up on this frail hope that he has in this world. I want to see Mario cry. I want to see Mario bleed.
You know what you could do too that might just aesthetically, I think this would be really fucking awesome. The game de-reses as you go through the game. So it starts off as a 3D game where like a bunch of detail, a bunch of bright, beautiful happiness and all this shit. And as the game goes on, it just slowly descends into less and less bits and less resolution. So you visually see the descent of this character and the shit that they are dealing with. Because like I'm looking at like Super Mario Maker where like there are some levels that you actually like can combine different resolutions from the various games. Like, hey, we're gonna do 8-bit Mario on this one stage, but then you open this door and then it becomes 3D Mario, and it's just like that mix and blend of something. So I'm just wondering if you could do artistically. And I feel like this is Hideo Kojima-ish. Yeah, what's up?
Maybe we'll have a like a long introductory arc that will, as people refer to it in forums and stuff, it will be referred to as the Road to Get Here arc of the game. And the Road to Get Here arc of the game will be about a 20-hour segment where the game does slowly evolve into the 3D Mario Land game that we have now. Or 2D 3D.
See, I think that plays antithesis to
I'll
the
also
theme
give
that
you
flashbacks,
but I don't want to watch the world disintegrate into 2D, like 8-bit games, because we're going to be going toe-to-toe with Mr. Nintendo, King Toadstool.
I think, no, here's the thing. I don't think it works the other way around, because visually you are expressing to the audience that things are getting better as the game goes on. And that plays antithesis to the concept of capitalism as it gets better as it goes on. So if you do that, that's visually telling the character, like, no, capitalism gets better the longer it goes on. Like, no, that's dumb. So it's either
how about this? When Mario
stays
goes
the
into
same
places
or
that have been wrecked by it. It like de-reses, and then he goes past it, and then things get better, right? Like there's a point where you go into
pocket dimension of stuff.
Yes.
Okay. I could dig that. Where it's like it just oh my god. And then you can also do the thing of like, you ever see like Mario cartridges that went bad in like the Nintendo 64 or
and
the
they're all
NES
corrupted?
Or whatever? They're like all of the pixels are slightly moved to the right, and like things just look like destroyed and decrepit and just shitty. We hardcore lean into that in areas that are fucking ravaged by it. Like it's like, hey, we're going.
I have this all on a Word document. I am ready to send this to Kojima. Really quick on the name. Are we settled on Mario, a Hideo Kojima, or Mario the Last Level?
Yeah, Mario the Last Level or Mario the Last Stage.
The last stage. That's it. That's the last stage.
There you go. All right, cool. Fuck yeah. A Mario game directed by Hideo Kojima. Fuck yeah, dude. That's a game. Hell yeah. Are we ready for patch notes?
Let's go to patch notes. Hello, everybody, and welcome to Patch Notes. Thank you, as always. Do you want to give thank you? No, who do you think feels more grateful about this episode? You or me?
I think I don't know. I think we're both equally grateful for people showing up, listening to the podcast, having some fun with us. We know we talked a little bit more about serious things.
You're doing the thing where you're like, oh, both of us, and then you started going. If you think both of us are equally grateful, then we will give our thanks at the exact same time.
All right, 3, 2, 1. Thank you for listening.
As always, thank you all so much for listening. Are we doing this or not?
I did it for AJ. We can't do timed bits because our fucking internet connection is not built for this. It's not built for these jokes.
It's fine. 3, 2, 1. As always,
thank you so much for listening to this podcast episode. I really am so grateful that you're here with us. We had a lot of time talking about capitalism.
This episode got a little bit
we learned a little bit.
And I hope that you're fine with that.
Yeah, I hope you're fine with that. I know I just said what AJ just said.
Yeah, it became a little bit of an echo chamber for you, didn't it, bud?
Do you AJ, is there an echo in here?
Is there an echo in here?
Is there an echo in here?
As always, our intro and outro music is Cheap Shot by Anna Monoguchi, an excellent song from an excellent band for an excellent game. I have been your host, AJ Hart.
And I have been your other host, Blake Rea.
This has been Spiritual Successor, and these are cool games
that should not be made.